Великой Победы! Ура!
All is not well in Pakistan, and I'll tell you the reason why. Before I do, it's important to let you know what's happening over there. Prime Minister Imran Khan's opponents, all of them, all of a sudden have put aside their own differences to unite in an anti-Imran Khan coalition. They've accused him of bad governance and economic incompetence as inflation has soared, and some say Imran Khan has lost the backing of the military establishment. But that's not all this is about. The real reason is the growth of a supercontinent, the supercontinent of Eurasia, which the West fears. Eurasia covers 35% of the Earth's surface. Eurasia is home to 5 billion people living over 90 different countries and producing 65% of global GDP. For millennia, conquest, trade and migration have organically bound Asia and Europe together. You have to understand, the growth of Eurasia only stopped in the recent past history. The Industrial Revolution in Europe and the subsequent colonization of Asia and Africa created an artificial divide between all the states in Eurasia. However, geographically, there's no divide at all. Today, most of the power, economically and militarily, is in the West. However, all of it is about to change.
And we have data from international organizations that show that social problems, even in the leading Western countries, have exacerbated in recent years. There is more inequality, there is a bigger chasm between poor and rich. We see more and more racial and ethnic conflicts. This myth about Western society, about this so-called golden billion, is getting destroyed. Now the entire planet has to pay for the ambitions of the West, for their attempts by any means to preserve their domination in the world that is slipping away.
As you guys know, Imran Khan was in Russia when Putin decided to conduct the military intervention in Ukraine. We've been told a few things about their meeting, however, all has not been discussed and most probably will never be revealed. By the way things are going right now on the world stage, I'm going to try and analyze the situation. You see, my dear friends, they want to get rid of Imran Khan because the West fears the strategic rapprochement between Russia and Pakistan in Central Asia, which would greatly enhance the Shanghai Co-operation capabilities and solidify the foundation of their common vision for Eurasia. The multipolar world, which I spoke about in my earlier video, is actively taking shape at an accelerated pace against the background of the Russian special operations in Ukraine and the principled neutrality of the global south in relation to the conflict creates amazing opportunities around the world. South Asia has found itself in the thick of the events of the global system transition, as it's located in the center of the Eastern Hemisphere and in the middle of the path between the eastern and western half of the Eurasian supercontinent. At the same time, the influence of the western part is falling, while the eastern one, on the contrary, is growing. Surprisingly, Pakistan has managed to become a leading player in this process, even though just a decade ago many Western analysts wrote off the country as a failed state. But participation of Pakistan in the creation of the Chinese-Pakistan Economic Corridor, one of the flagship projects of China's Belt and Road Initiative, makes it indispensable for realizing Beijing's vision of building a community with a shared destiny. Eurasia. In other words, by becoming one of the most important participants in the One Belt, One Road initiative, Pakistan secures its future success, which is inextricably linked to multipolarity. However, Imran Khan is prudent not to put all his eggs in one basket, and that's why we've seen recent comments from him saying he's no slave of the West, nor the European Union. Reason why he said that is because during the Cold War and the so-called War on Terror, Pakistan realized that over-reliance on any partner could prove to be a disadvantage at the end. This is not about comparing China and the United States, but rather about avoiding dependency in a friendly, non-hostile manner that doesn't pose a threat to anyone's interests. The main projects that the West fears and is directly linked to Pakistan are of course CPEC, the Russian idea of the Greater Eurasian Partnership, as well as the implementation of Pakistan Stream projects and the construction of the Pakistan Railway from Afghanistan to Uzbekistan, known as Pak-A-Fuz. The railway will help strengthen the influence of the Eurasian bloc and increase the volume of trade. Prime Minister Imran Khan is courageously resisting pressure from more than 24 Western ambassadors in Islamabad who are urging him to publicly denounce Moscow. The fact is, Pakistan understands the incredible strategic importance of maintaining strong ties with Russia, in particular under the Pakistan Stream project, an agreement on which, as reported, will be signed soon. Russia is important to Pakistan, which seeks to remain neutral in the new Cold War between America and China on the East Eurasian front. Russia and Pakistan complement and balance each other's efforts. The Pakistani stream could become Russia's main investment. After the conclusion of the agreement, it will significantly reduce Pakistan's energy deficit, as well as release Pakistan's untapped economic potential. So you see folks, things are changing around the world and Imran Khan is bang in the middle of it, and this is why so many Western funded NGOs and human rights organizations have started to bark against Pakistan and Imran Khan. However, they remain mute over India, where journalists are too scared to report on rigged elections. Stand by Imran Khan, he must stay in power for the Eurasian superstate to be born.